Welcome to the Private Practice Startup, where we inspire you from startup to mastery. We chat with entrepreneurs, experts in the mental health and business arenas, and successful private practitioners to give you the tools needed to make your dream practice a reality. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, and so much more. Here are your hosts, Dr. Kate Campbell and Katie Lemieux.
Welcome back, Startup Nation, to another episode of the Private Practice Startup Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Katie Lemieux. And I almost said Dr. Katie Lemieux because I always hear you say Dr. Kate Campbell. I'm not a doctor. Kate is.
Yes. Hey, everybody. It's Kate Campbell. And I fluctuate between saying Dr. Kate and Kate because in my private practice, I'm always Dr. Kate. And then for you guys, you're also clinicians and master's and doctorate levels. And so sometimes it's funny saying doctor. So I'm just kind of transitioning to Kate.
But I'm not the doctor. So welcome back. If you're a loyal Startup Nation member, family. If you're brand new to us, we are rolling out the red carpet, opening our arms and say thank you for joining us on this podcast today. And today we are speaking with Connor McClenahan, super Irish name of Cúpla Media, and he's going to share with us what the name means and all that stuff. And he's talking to us today on how to use video to grow your practice. So, but before we do that, if you are a brand new listener and this is your first time listening to us, we again wanted to say thank you, and we have a gift for you. We'd love for you to head over to our privatepracticestartup.com page. And right there, you'll see our smiling faces with a nice water scene behind us. And right there, we have a button to download our A to Z cheat sheet, Essentials for Building and Growing Your Dream Practice.
So before we jump into today's topic, let's take a quick moment to thank our sponsors. Today's sponsors are Brighter Vision. You guys, seriously, website building is no joke. It is a big time comprehensive process. And I've built 8 websites. So trust me, I know from personal experience. Unlike my business partner here who has delegated that task and outsourced every time.
Smartness. Yes. That's super smart.
Yes. So we know it's no joke. It's super time consuming, overwhelmed, and not to mention pricey. So especially if you work with an independent website consultant to do, and not to mention the time that goes into it, that you could be getting your hourly therapy rate instead of wasting that on technology, right? So we want to share with you guys an awesome resource with Brighter Vision. They will build your site, set up hosting, take care of all of the images and SEO for just $59 a month. And that is a steal. It really is. So make sure to click the link in the show notes and you'll get your first month for free. It's a no-brainer, and we'll make sure to include that in the show notes page. So check that out there. And they are just awesome. We can't say enough things about them. Of all the people we've sent their way, they're fantastic.
Yep. And before we jump into our topic today, we hope that you checked out last week's podcast with Phil Singleton, really taking a deep dive into SEO for private practitioners. We really talked about Google reviews and why reviews are important, how to get those. And Phil just has a really interesting story on how he kind of got into SEO, so you want to join us for that. So without further ado, we want to say, hey, Connor, welcome.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
What's up from the West Coast? You're all the way in LA, right?
I know. We actually had some snow in our mountains here. I'm down in LA, but you could see the snow up on Mount Lukens and Mount Wilson right around us, and but it's melted away now. We got a little warmer now. So, but we should get some more rain this weekend. So there's the weather forecast for LA. Well, we're doing well. It's good over here.
We rarely ever have snow, and we rarely have mountains. Most often, if you potentially see a mountain, it's a dump. That's all we got down here. And actually, here in Broward, they decorate the coconut. I think it's in Coconut Creek, the dump with a Christmas tree of lights.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so that's super special.
I have not seen that. So I live in East Broward County, near the beach, where we've got the white sandy beaches. So that's pretty sweet. Makes up for the warm weather. And actually, we've had a cold front this morning. It was like 52 degrees, and
really?
We're in the middle of March, which is unheard of for March.
Yeah. So we want to thank our people getting the nor'easter and getting dumped snow on. We have some more cooler weather and fire pit weather, so that's good.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's dive into our topic today. We'll be talking about how to use video to grow your practice. So tell us a little bit about how you came up with Klapa Media.
Yeah, well, I started Cúpla when I was at Sync Counseling Center, and I still practice with them. They're a great place to work with and practice with. And it started just as trying to think, how do we really grow our reach in the community, and being more analytically oriented and interpersonal neurobiology and all that kind of stuff. That's something I was thinking about when I was thinking about marketing, of not just how do we get clients in the door, but how do we really establish a strong connection with people who don't know who we are, so that they feel like they can trust us. They feel like they know that we can be helpful to them. And video just seemed to make sense. I was building my own website at the time, and I was trying to find all kinds of words to describe who I am. And I was trying really hard to get this sense of personal connection with people. And I thought, man, this doesn't have enough bandwidth. It doesn't have enough bandwidth to really communicate what our minds are built to communicate over kind of face-to-face interaction. And so I thought, wouldn't it be a great thing if we got videos, not just for myself, but for all the clinicians here, to be able to do so that they can really connect well with clients. And I think it's great. I mean, I spent probably just as much, if not less time on doing the video than I would trying to go over all of my word copy to try to get it perfect. And so I just found it really helpful. And then my brother and I used to edit videos back in junior high, and we had these dreams of like being like directors one day, and like making movies. And Brendan was like, "Oh, you're making movies?" I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Well, could I help in any way?" I was like, "Yeah, sure," because my client load was picking up, and so Brendan jumped on board, and I would send him files, like to edit, and he'd go on his computer and edit them down, and we kind of send them back and forth, and we really loved doing that kind of creative process together, and so that's kind of how Cúpla was born, and then we started getting other people doing videos for other people, and making it kind of an official thing.
And before we started actually hitting the record button today, you were sharing with us what Cúpla means. So share that with our audience, because that was a really cool explanation.
Yeah, Cúpla is a Gaelic word, and it means twin, and it kind of implies like a couple. It kind of sounds like couple, right? But it implies kind of a dialogue or conversation. And so we really wanted, that's kind of part of our heart, is that not just that this video is some kind of product or really polished thing, but it's the purpose is to have some kind of personal connection, to reach out in a different way with your clients. So yeah, that's a bit of what our vision is for our company.
It's good branding, because you guys are twins, and then also that's the essence of what you're doing through your videos, is being able to connect with your ideal clients and draw them in, and to develop that relationship through video.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and I'm sure it's a conversation starter about what that means. And actually, Kate and we had just recorded a podcast today about starting a private practice and choosing a name and things like that. And I love how you have the Cúpla, which has a meaning, but media. So it's really clear on what you guys do.
Yeah, what we do.
Yeah, and that's so essential for a name. So tell us one of the things that you had to overcome to get to where you are in business today.
Wow. With video, is that what you're meaning?
Either with video or just business in general.
Yeah, sure. What I had to overcome. Well, first of all, to do my video at all, I really struggled with doing my video. I was doing like some videos for other people, and Brendan was like, "Hey, you're doing all these videos for other people. Why aren't you doing one for yourself?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll do it later. I don't quite have time." Yada yada. And the truth was, I was just nervous. I was anxious about putting something down, getting a script going. I didn't know how to do that. Just like most therapists, I operate best in the background, where don't have the spotlight on me, where I can kind of talk about other people's feelings and everything. I think all of us are familiar with that kind of those kind of traits, right? And so it was really hard for me to be like, okay, I'm going to nail the date down. I'm going to put myself on camera. I'm going to get out there. And it took Brendan kind of pushing me out the door, being like, okay, come on, just set a date in the calendar. You can do it. And so I did it. I set a date on the calendar. I was super nervous. I had my friend go and video me in some park, and he had a camera set up, and it was really helpful to have somebody there with me, as opposed to kind of doing it in some kind of empty room, so that I could feel like I had some kind of feedback, where I was kind of going through it, and I kind of could feel my stomach knot up, and then I would be like, okay, how'd I do? And he's like, no, good, you did great. And I heard you say this and that. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll try again, So I did a couple takes, and then we put together the video and posted it online, and it was really huge for me. I got a huge, I think I'd been getting, 2 or 3 clients a month before. Then I got 10 clients when I posted it online, and I shared it, and I asked all my friends to share it. And so I think that just helped people really grab a hold of who I am and what I do in a different way. So that was a big step for me personally too, of learning that I can take up space like that, or I can put myself on camera and and do well, or that I have something to say. So that was really important for me too. Yeah.
Video is so nerve-wracking. It's not something I'm not someone who naturally loves to be in the spotlight. That's why I love podcasting, because I feel like nobody can see me until now we're doing these. Now we have the video recording, so we're doing both the audio and the video of that. But for video, it's taken me, just years of practicing to get more comfortable. And now I can do videos and I don't even get nervous. And I feel like my natural, authentic personality comes out. But before, I was like robotic. Like, hi, my name is, what? And everybody's like, oh my gosh, who is this person? She's so rigid. And it wasn't me, but it was just so uncomfortable with it that it doesn't come naturally for a lot of people. But with practice, you can definitely get there. And video is such a powerful medium for being able to connect with potential clients, because they get to see you and they get to see your eyes, your face, and what it would imagine what it would be like to have a conversation with you. Yeah. So it is something that's just such a personable way of reaching out to potential clients. It's awesome.
Totally. I mean, our brains are built to do that, right? Like where things like trust and empathy, all those things don't come from our kind of logical language brain. They come from seeing somebody's face and getting a sense that they understand the vocal intonation and everything. All those things happen more kind of in the basal ganglion limbic system than the cortex. And so it's like, I think video is so much the chosen medium for really establishing that connection. So I think that's really good. And it's too bad too. It's like most people, when they first try doing it, like you said, like you feel robotic and you're like, wait, this is exactly the opposite of what I'm trying to convey. Like,
exactly.
Less of me. Yeah. And it takes some practice. Yeah.
When Kate and I actually shot our first video talking about our paperwork, we had a script and everything like that. And Kate, I feel like you were like a deer caught in headlights, and April is behind the scenes, like, loosen up. And Kate, we have a prop, and she like picks up the paperwork and she's like, and here's our paperwork. And then she puts it back down and she slides it over here. And then she crosses her arms very stiffly like this, And
I don't think I moved the entire time.
And then she like, it was just so funny. And then we had to stop the video.
You got to see some of those outtakes. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that stuff is worth posting right there.
Yep,
we have to make our blooper reel.
I know still. It's been on the videos for so long. We've got hysterical videos. Yep.
We made a blooper reel this summer at Slowdown School with Joe Sanok. We were doing everyone's video back to back. And it was just so comical, just because everyone does it, right? Every single person is no matter how experienced or not they are, everyone's doing that same kind of stuff, like getting all nervous before, what do I say? And so we created a blooper reel, and it was just, we were roaring with that. I'll have to share it with you guys. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, is that public or that's kind of a private one?
It's a little bit more private because there's some expletives in there.
Oh, okay. Yes,
definitely
with us.
Some F-bombs dropped, but
So you guys listening won't get access to it, but we do.
That's funny.
That is funny. There's times that Kate and I will be trying to like shoot a video, and we'll be at like take 10 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm all serious, I'm ready to go. And then she just starts bursting laughing, and I'm like,
I know.
And then our last video we shot, it was like literally a 90-second. It took us an hour and a half, and second to the last intake, we're ready, we're smiling, and she's like, the clock, where's the clock?
The clock is ticking. Yeah, sometimes we'll nail it on the first try now, and sometimes it takes like 10 tries. It's it's
the magic number that we found is 4. It's 4 times. Like after 4, your mind turns to mush.
Yes. You're like, usually, what am I saying? I don't remember.
Exactly. Yeah. So whatever reason that is, I'm not sure, but people run it through a couple times, and usually when they mess up the second time, we're like, hey, don't worry about it. The 4th take, you're going to nail it. It just takes a couple times. And the 4th take, you're like, hey, look, see, there you go. And then the 5th time, like, let's try again. And it just is, falling off the cliff. It's just terrible. So number 4 is the number to shoot for.
It's like some language programming, letting them know.
Yeah.
So why should therapists use, video marketing? I think we started to highlight that, but what are some of the other reasons that you see, Connor?
Well, it's just such a dynamic medium. It's like the steak at your restaurant, right? You serve it, center plate. You can do lots of different things with it, but it's something that you can reuse over and over again. It's evergreen. You can use in lots of different places, YouTube ads or Facebook ads, native like email marketing, and having it on for your website. Everywhere you can use it. And so it is the best way. I'm convinced it's the best way for people to know who you are and to feel comfortable reaching out and giving you a call. So we just did a video this last July for my friend Quincy, who's out in Santa Monica. and it's pretty saturated with therapists, right? And so it's really important to have a strong marketing presence. And we created her video. Her video is only like 58 seconds, and she nailed it. She did a really good job. And I created a Facebook ad for her with it. And usually, like on Facebook ads, whatever, it's like, you don't get it's kind of hit or miss. You don't know what it's going to be like. And it was remarkable. It was like 30% of people who had never heard of her before watched until the end of the video. Which was like 58 seconds of their time that they're giving up right away on Facebook to see who she was, because her message was so strong and so clear. There was some strong imagery of Santa Monica so that people could say, oh, yeah, that's where I live. I wonder what this is about. And she just nailed it. And so I think that was partially because she's, of course, a great clinician, and she knows who she's talking to and her ideal client. Then also kind of the coaching of going through that over and over, having good sound, having good, imagery, all that stuff all contributed to this really, really powerful marketing tool. So anyway, all to say that it's I think, of course, right now the internet is more geared towards, words of having, like, for example, your Psychology Today profile, you can put 3 paragraphs in there, and so it's all geared around words. But I think more and more we're going to see that people are generally watching videos and paying attention to images and videos way more than they're paying attention to words on an online profile or on your webpage in order to get a sense of if you're a good fit for them. So I think it's essential as we're moving forward in this age.
What do you recommend for length of time for an initial video for clinicians to use for their website?
I don't think it matters, actually. I think it matters what you're trying to do or what your content is. As long as it's a good video, I don't think you have to be concerned about the length. I mean, Quincy's was 58 seconds. Mine was 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So I would say in between there is a good ballpark of what to shoot for. But I think generally you want to think about how are you capturing your ideal client. The people who are going to be longer are going to be the ones where you're doing more of a content video, where you're saying, hey, I want to give you 3 tips. My name is Connor McClenahan. I'm a psychologist and I work in downtown LA. I want to talk to you about 3 tips for reducing your anxiety at work. And so that's a content video that's going to be more like 5 minutes, but it might be just as engaging for your ideal client if that's who they are. But then the other thing to think about is where are they when they're viewing your video? So if you're planning on using this primarily for Facebook, that's going to help you do a really strong intro. You're not going to want to even say your name. You're just going to want to say, hey, I want to give you 3 tips for how to, reduce your anxiety at work, right? Whereas if it's on your website, you're going to be like, welcome, my name's Connor McClenahan. Often, we struggle with anxiety. Yeah. So it's a little bit more of a soft intro. But I think that's a little bit more nuanced. I think the overall point there is that what your video is going to depend on who your ideal client is.
Mm-hmm. So Connor, I know that we were talking about kind of scripts and like what to say and how to say it, and share with us a little bit of your tips in regards to helping clinicians get really clear on what to say.
Yeah. So the first thing I would recommend is, before you put the pen down on the paper, is to really visualize your ideal client, and take a whole day if you have to really get clear about who your client is that you're trying to talk to. And what they're needing in their life. Okay. So, first of all, you need to pick one client. A lot of people are like, well, I work with parents and I work with teenagers, who should I pick? A video isn't going to work if you're trying to preach to both those people, so you have to pick one. And so what I would do is I would narrow it down, pick one client in your mind who you currently have, not someone who you wish you had, but someone you currently have. That really represents who you'd like more of. Like if you could duplicate this person, and have like 5 of them in your practice, who would that be? It should be somebody who you really like working with, who you've done really good work with, who you like hanging out with and feel really fulfilled with. So picture that person in your mind. And then what you're going to do is you want to picture that they're going out to a coffee shop, right? And that they are sitting down with a friend, and their friend asks them, hey, what's going on in your life right now? And they tell their friend what they really want in their life. Like, gosh, I just wish that I could feel more connected, with my husband or with my wife or whatever. And so what is their core desire? What are they really wanting to do in their life? and then what is the pain that they're experiencing, right? So like what is it like for them right now, right? And maybe like, but it feels like we keep missing each other, like we're not on the same page. I don't know. It feels like we keep fighting, right? So you picture them again. What is the language that they would use in a coffee shop to talk to their friend? And then what's the obstacle, right? It's like, well, I just think we don't get enough time together, we keep missing each other. It's like every time we go to talk, we talk about surface level stuff, right? I'm trying to picture like a common couple situation, right?
Sure.
But, and then what is, so there you have like the desire, the pain, and the obstacle. And so those things are really good to get clear about. So again, visualize that person, right? The person that you sit down in front of every week, and picture them going out to a coffee shop and talking about these things with a friend. And then write down some notes to yourself about what they would say to their friend. And that is the basis for everything you need for your script right there. And the reason I say that is because usually if we don't do that, if we don't have a strong image in our minds of who our ideal client is, we end up doing the robot thing, like Kate, you were talking about.
Yeah.
Like we end up feeling really anxious about how we're coming across. Something that I always kind of run into when I do a video is I start to think, oh, is this a language that my colleagues would use to talk about this? Like, am I coming off as a phony? Oh, I didn't really study EMDR as much as so-and-so. I'm messing this up, where we kind of think about like ourselves, and if we're coming across right, it's so anxious, right? And I think our clients can sense that, and they're like, oh, like I don't really sense that kind of connection here. So what we need to do is have that strong visualization in your mind of who that client is. And I guarantee you, when you like sit down and you start writing those things out, you'll start to feel it. You'll start to feel that pain, because often the clients that we pick are the ones who are the most similar to us, the things that we're going through, right? The pains that we have. And so it's like you'll start to feel yourself feeling those things, the compassion or the empathy for them. And that's the exact spot that you want to be in when you turn on the camera and start your video.
Yeah. And if you are working with your ideal clients, is you do experience this, on a continuous basis. And so you do feel their pain, and really that empathy can shine through. And, one thing that I think about is when we get anxious, we sometimes start to talk about ourselves and feel like we have to prove ourselves. And so we'll start talking about our philosophy, our beliefs, our credentials. And that's not what's most interesting to people.
People don't care. Yeah.
They don't care. They just want to know that, do you know me? Do you get me? And can you help me fix what I'm dealing with? So
totally. Yeah.
So just out of curiosity, what do you see that some of the reasons that therapists shy away from video? Like, what are they most worried about?
I think it's overwhelming, right? It really, it makes them really anxious to think about being on camera. They don't know what to say, or it feels like it's going to be too expensive, like this whole kind of ball of wax that they don't want to open up. Maybe they're overwhelmed with other things, right? And it's hard to set aside the time to really figure it out and do it well. And so I think what most people don't know is that they can do it with their iPhone, as long as they have good sound. If they have kind of a way of getting crisp audio, they can do it with their iPhone and be fine. And then we help people build their scripts and kind of get clear about that. So what I would say is you just have to set aside time. So people are anxious, whatever. And so I would start by just talking to a friend about it. Maybe there's another therapist that and you could just say, hey, have you thought about video marketing? And just talk about it and have a conversation and kind of let yourself explore what the things are that are getting in your way about it. Because I think a lot of people ideally think, oh, video would be helpful for me. But then when it comes down to it, just like me, they're like, oh, I have other things to do. I don't know if I can really set the time aside. So I'd just say, talk to a friend about it.
And one thing too is if you are going to do like a lot of different videos, is one of our ninja tips is like bring different like clothes, accessories, so you could just change them out, and so you look different on each video.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and just setting aside time and just kind of doing that stuff back to back. We time batch our podcasts, and so we do podcast recording one day a month and just kind of do it all together. So if you guys are doing a lot of video, to do that. But where are some really good places to place your video online?
Okay, so online, what you'll want to do is you want to have it front and center on your front page, right? Especially if it's an intro video explaining, talking directly to your ideal client. And then you want it kind of on, if you have a Facebook page, you want to put it on there. But what we recommend is two different channels. One is the YouTube upload, And then the second one is the Facebook upload. So on the YouTube, and you can use Vimeo if you want instead of YouTube. Some people prefer that, but you upload it to that server, right? And then you embed it on your website. And if you have a person who helps you with web design, they'll know what that means and what to do. But you want it front and center on the first fold of your website. So actually we consulted, Cat Love. They do all this kind of work, and they were suggesting that you should put it, front and center, first fold of your website, the first thing that you see with a really clear call to action button at the bottom. So that's the YouTube route, right? Is uploading on YouTube, linking it to your webpage. The second route is Facebook. And what you want to do is you want to upload it directly to Facebook. You don't want to link it in from YouTube. That becomes kind of complicated. But if you have a Facebook page, you want to upload it right there. And then you post it right at maybe an optimum time that people around you are looking for therapy. And then what we suggest is to go ahead and find, like on your email, you find like 10 or 15 people who really believe in what you do and really are kind of your cheerleaders, whether it's family or friends, people in your area, not people out of state or anything like that. And you ask them if they can share the video on Facebook. You said, hey, this would really help me out. This is a huge way that you can support me in my practice. And you have them share it on their timelines. And that is far and above better than just having it posted on your page. This organic sharing is much better responded to because people trust who it's from rather than just seeing the sponsored thing underneath. And so that way, I got tons. I forget how many within the first month, like 6,000 views or something like that, like in the first month on my video, because people in my area were sharing it. And I think that's largely why I got more traffic to my website, why I got more clients that month, is because people were sharing it all over the place. And so those are the two modes that I would do to have it shared online. Mm-hmm.
That's a great ninja tip. And then I would also suggest even sharing that with like your stakeholders or referral partners, right? Mm-hmm. People you share clients with, right? And it's a great way to even like now as I'm thinking as I'm talking, right? Like instead of just sending like your information, like having that link in your information. So when someone says, oh, I recommend Katie, they have a video, which is probably stands out way more than anyone else because I don't really see people do that. So
no. Yeah.
Thanks for the ninja tip. Yep.
Yeah, totally.
I'm going to fix my information at the bottom.
Yeah, and another little ninja tip is you can pin it at the top of your Facebook page so that when people look at your page for the first time, that's the first thing that they see. That they don't have to scroll through a million posts to be able to find the video. So you can be really strategic about that.
Totally.
So as we're talking, Connor, I have another question about, you're talking about ideal clients, and I'm wondering for clinicians who have group practices, how do you have them set up a video for the homepage? What do you recommend for them? Because it's not going to be one specific ideal client because there may be many different ideal clients. So how do you recommend clinicians handle that?
I think that's going to be case by case about what the vision is for the practice. That's what we did with Sync Counseling Center, the counseling center I work with. We had Curtis, who is our executive director. He did a vision video, but it was more of who Sync is and in his desire for people to feel at home in the counseling center. And it's it's one of my favorite videos we've ever done. If you want to go over to sync.org, sync.org, and look at that, that's a really good template, I think, for what video should look like for a group practice. But the other thing to do is to not even worry about an intro video, but to do a content video. So you sit down with the director of the group practice and you say, okay, let's punch out 5 videos that are all addressing different needs for our different ideal clients, right? So you sit down and say, okay, well, how about people struggling with anxiety? Let's come up with 1 or 2 videos we can do, content videos we can do for them, and marriage and whoever else. And then what you can do with that is you can post each of those videos on your specialty pages, so like for anxiety, anxiety counseling in Austin, Texas, or whatever, like now you have a video for that page, but then also you can put it in your blog. And what you do with your blog is you have the video at the top of the blog, where you can do that in WordPress, right? Where it's embedded right at the top of the blog. And then below you kind of have someone transcribe and create headings and everything to follow along with the content in the video. And that's huge. It's really huge. I had a lot of success with that, where I did, what was it, about 3 reasons why couples don't come into therapy. And I created it into a blog post. And so people would click on Facebook to watch the full video. And then I have the full video there. They can sit down there for 5 minutes and watch the video. And then there's a transcript for if they're at work or whatever. And then that blog post is generating SEO, getting clicks from Google, because that's all the keywords in there. Google loves having video on a blog post or on any web page. So any video, this is kind of an aside, but any video they have on any web page is going to increase conversions on that web page, hands down. So I think the stats are something like 60% more conversions per page, per views. So that's huge. So if you have a group practice, that's really great, and it's cool too. With group practice, you can kind of centralize and strategize together, right? It's not every clinician for themselves just making their own video. You guys can be really strategic about what keywords you're going to hit, what ideal clients you're going to hit, and where you're going to use those videos.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Great points.
So if you had a takeaway message for the audience today, what do you want to make sure that they take away?
I think the biggest change that therapists can make is to go from that anxious posture, right, of like trying to get clients in the door and trying to, kind of this desperate need for growing or clients or more money or whatever that is, to really connecting back with their ideal client. And I think that's something we do in the room really well, but I think it's something we need to do in marketing. It's something we need to kind of harness, not just for our own business sake, but for the sake of our purpose and our profession and our feeling really connected and alive as therapists. Is we need to do that in marketing as well.
Yeah, and we appreciate you saying that, because that's one thing that we always talk about, is that your skills in the therapy room are completely transferable. Once you walk out the door, we kind of forget we have these great skills that connect to marketing, sales, and all that stuff. So we really have a leading advantage. I just don't think we're totally aware of that. So awesome. And I know, Connor, you guys have a really great giveaway in regards to your ebook, and I want you to share a little bit about what they'll get by downloading your ebook.
Yeah. So we talked a lot today about script building, and we have like a whole ebook geared around everything you need to know about making a video. What clinicians don't know is that they can make a video with equipment they already have, and we outline how to do all of that, and we have a whole script builder worksheet where you can diagram out and write out. We take you through visualization exercises and everything so that you can come away with a really clear video. I think that's a lot of the hurdle, right? Is that we start thinking about a video and we think, it just feels like a whole big ball that I don't want to untangle. And so this really untangles it for you and helps you really get clear about who your ideal client is and how to make a video.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Nice. And so we're going to put that link on our show notes page. And you also have something called Practice Shorts. What is that?
Oh, Practice Shorts are like a video that's already made. So for clinicians who are like, I want to try out video marketing. I don't have equipment. I don't have the time to sit down and write a script. I just want something literally in 20 minutes I can have up on my website. So we did these like pre-made customizable videos where you can literally click a button, download it for $69, download it, and you can put in your phone number and your name onto the video. We show you exactly how to do that. And Brendan tried it out. I think he did it in like 7 minutes. He did it and uploaded it onto the website and had it up on his site just like that. And so this is a really easy way to get started with video marketing, and they're all geared around different client issues, so specific diagnoses. So we have anxiety, depression. We're just coming out with a grief one on Monday, couples, trauma. So there's all kinds to choose from that will really meet your ideal client and help them make that first phone call to you. So we wanted to give you guys, if you're listening to this right now, we wanted to give you guys 30% off of that with the promo code Kate and Katie, and maybe you guys can list that in the show notes or whatever. But I think it's like the easiest win for video marketing, no brainer. So we've seen a lot of success with that. People coming back and saying how helpful that was and easy, and and we can also customize it ourselves too if you want us to do that for you, so you don't have to do any video work.
Awesome.
Wow, that's awesome.
Well, we appreciate, and I was going to say, I appreciate you guys, because I feel, especially as twins, you're super connected and you guys are business partners, just like Kate and I always say we, whether we're solo or not. But we appreciate you and the extension of your brother being with us today and really sharing these tips about video. And I think my recommendation for Startup Nation is, if you're uncomfortable, just do it anyway. Just try it out. Get out the jitters. Be silly, and save those for bloopers reels so you can actually look back on it and laugh at yourself.
Exactly.
So thanks so much for hanging out with us today. We want to make sure that next week that you guys check out our podcast. We are Kate and Katie. Oh, that's us. We're the stars of the podcast that week, talking about how to start a private practice. And so that podcast is going to be filled with a whole ton of resources, giveaways, ninja tips. So you guys are going to want to check out the show notes page on that one. So join us for that. And again, as always, we appreciate, you being a loyal listener. We would love to hear your comments or feedback. So feel free to review us on iTunes or just shoot us an email and let us know how these podcasts are helping you and your practice. Also, if you have any topics or ideas that you really want to hear, let us know. We're here to serve you. So thank you guys for allowing us to inspire you from startup to mastery. And we hope you have an amazing day.
We'll see you next time, Startup Nation. Thanks for joining us on The Private Practice Startup. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and so much more.